Well, Jim, I think it's great to get ahead for our players and our coaches to be able to be ahead, get stuff in, sometimes go back at night and figure out maybe something a little bit different to do that you have an extra day to look at it.
Because it seems like the squad was more spirited today.
Yeah, I thought they had great energy today, and I think that's 3 weeks in a row that we've had really good practices. I think our defense has really picked it up, and I think that's showing on Saturdays.
You and Steve Sarkisian know each other very, very well. So is there fun in coaching against someone you've known for a long time, or is there a little bit of more rivalry?
Well, I think once you get to the game and it's kicked off, you forget about all that, just like the players forget about that stuff. And you're so locked into the game. But it's a healthy rivalry between the schools, and he's done a great job making it very competitive.
What did you do today, or what do you plan to do this week to cut down on the penalties?
Well, just really continue to do what we've been doing, which is stress it, post it, focus on it, crowd noise, the same stuff that we did last year. We just got to turn around, and it will turn around.
Do you think they kind of got caught up in the fervor of the Thursday night game, kind of the emotion of it?
I don't, because we haven't done very well all year, so I don't think it had to do with Thursday night. I think it had to do with, not making really good decisions, and a couple times some freshmen in there not being in, or an extra one being in once.
Any changes at the cornerback spot? Is Josh Shaw getting a look here this week?
Josh has taken reps there, and we're rotating all the guys in there.
Have you looked at Marquise Lee in practice at that spot?
We have not put him there in real stuff. Now he'll go over there sometimes in one-on-ones, especially in spring, to mess around, and you can see that, if he wanted to play defense, he'd be a first-round corner. But we've been through this whole thing, with you guys before about, he is so valuable in the reps when the ball doesn't go to him based off of the defenses that are called. It would be hard to take him off the field on offense.
So have you made a decision on that then, like that you're not going to do it? Or?
Not right now, no.
What's your biggest concern about Washington offensively and defensively?
Well, I think playing them at home. You go up there and the crowd in the stadium's extremely loud that they're in, and they play better at home. They've done that even before he got there, but especially since he's got there, they're like two different teams. And so the concern for us is on offense, handling the crowd, playing with good composure. On defense, it's handling the quarterback. He makes so many plays by running around, out of rhythm plays, especially towards the end of last year and especially in that bowl game.
Because you're almost like road warriors already.
Yeah, this will be our fourth road game out of 6 games. And so, we got to make it through this thing, come out with a win, and get back home for 5 of the next 6 in LA.
When you've been on the road as much as you have, what are the negatives about that? Because sometimes you can fall into a little bit of a lull.
Well, I think that now that we've gone on the road and played better than we did the time before, I don't mind going on the road again. These teams used to going through some adversity and not playing well, which is going to always happen at some points in games. They make plays too, and so I know we'll be really composed if that happens again.
Is there a weariness that sets in at all from all these road trips, or does the bye week playing on a Thursday kind of negate that?
Well, I think that's helped a little bit. Ideally, obviously, you wouldn't want to schedule, for your first 6 on the road, especially one on the East Coast, but it is what it is. We don't control some of that, obviously, with the conference play, and I think our guys have responded well, and I think they'll do again this week.
You talked about Price and his playmaking ability. How come his numbers aren't what maybe people expected them to be this year?
Well, I think that, quarterbacks always get too much blame on all the levels, You saw it last night, probably on Monday night. If the players around you aren't in rhythm and aren't doing things, sometimes you suffer, just like Matt went through at the beginning of last year with so many new pieces coming in last year at the beginning of the year, and then he was different at the end of the year. And I think Price is suffering from all those injuries, the tailback injuries, 2 of them, the 4 offensive line injuries, the receiver injury. That's hard for any program to handle. And as the quarterback, you suffer with a bunch of new guys in there. And we saw that happen with Matt, and we saw as those guys started to get more snaps underneath them and play better later in the year, then your numbers show up.
They did have a lot of injuries on offensive line, yet beat Stanford with that front 7. How did they do that?
Yeah, I think it was an example of playing at home and playing great. Like I said, they play really well at home. Both sides of the line of scrimmage, they did good with all those new linemen in there. They did a great job versus Stanford's great front 7. And then on the other side of the ball, they were able to do really well too versus a really good run team and hold them to almost nothing.
How much do you see your team growing and maturing, especially when you come back from 2 touchdowns down?
Yeah, like I said, I think you don't ever want that to happen unless you know you're going to win. But now that we won the game, it was good to have. It was good to see those guys in that environment and see them respond. You know, we talked so much after the Stanford game of how we could have handled that better in that game when things weren't going really well. And to see our guys do that this time around was really good.
What was different about Matt's performance on Thursday compared to? I think he had good games previously this season, but it seemed like he was really sharp and at his best.
Yeah, he was extremely accurate, you know, especially for being on the road, altitude change. You know, as you look at that game, you know, there's balls being placed in, and there's 2 more that could be caught, you know, for huge plays where it becomes just a giant night at 80% completion. So I thought he played really well on the road in a hostile place where some guys haven't played well, and they've rattled some offenses up there over the years. So I really think Matt's played, you know, outside of one game, you know, Matt's played really well, and I think in general that's what you look at this team. You know, as you look at it now through 5 games, we played and coached one really bad game on one side of the ball, and then the other games we've won them all by double digits.
How important for Matt is to have a college home?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was a huge deal in that game. If you take our stats in the 5 games compared to that game, it's just completely different in all areas, and you know, the college makes a big difference there.
Is that typical to be that reliant on one offense?
I don't think so. I think that's a product of a couple things. One, they've played together so long that they play at a high level when they're together. I think 2, our backup center was out that game as well, so we went to a kid who had really never played. You know, and that's a hard thing to do for anybody, especially somebody who hadn't played, to go into that environment versus that front.
Coach, what does this extra day of preparation allows you to be able to do?
Well, I think it just allows us to get stuff in early and then to go back and clean it up and not feel like you're scrambling all the time like you are in a normal week.
You said the other night that special teams probably looked as bad as they've been since you've been here. Do you think this extra day gives you time to clean that up too?
Yeah, I think it does. I think we'll go back to playing the way that we're used to around here, playing great special teams. Like I said, for us, that's the worst we've played on special teams, and a lot of people wouldn't even consider that bad. You know, we still blocked a kick. We didn't give up big returns, but you know, we have extremely high standard of expectation here for special teams.
What made it so
Last
bad?
question.
The special teams, like what?
I thought we were just out of rhythm with some substitutions. You know, penalties, the running into the kicker, just unusual things that we're not used to doing around here that we need to get fixed. All right. Thanks, guys.